The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. Steve Murray here with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Thank you all for joining us. I know Friday can sometimes be a day that maybe you handle paperwork or not necessarily doing a lot of appointments, so we thought it'd be a good day to do a webinar on what we think is an exciting new initiative that Dave Pimper and the folks at Lazarus Coaching are putting forward to help some of our folks that have interest maybe in building their clientele and building their reputation using radio. So looking forward to a good presentation on Retirement Boss Radio. I expect that there will be more than the usual number of questions, since this is a rather new and not complicated, but certainly different than what a lot of us are used to dealing with. So if you would, during the course of the event, if you have a question, get it typed in and we'll try and get it answered for you and for the entire group. So looking forward to this. Our guest presenter again will be Dave Pimper. Dave is many of you know, he is the president of Lazarus Coaching, besides being the president of his own financial products advice and an investment firm. So it should be pretty good information that we're going to have. And the key from your all standpoint is not only is Dave in the coach business, but his primary method of supporting his family and himself has to do more with the business part. And so he is consistently doing the Retirement Boss Radio initiative himself and seen some pretty good success from that. So I think you'll enjoy hearing from Dave on that here very shortly. Before we get started, I'm going to zip through a couple things really quickly. Wanted to, of course, again, introduce myself. My name is Steve Murray. I'm the Executive Vice President and one of the owners here at IAMS. And we just want to make sure, as always, that we've got good stuff for you in terms of products and training and service and education and incentives. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some of that here right now. I'm just looking at our list of folks, and this is limited invitation to begin with. So most of you all that are on with us have already had some level of business with us, or at least folks that we had determined are kind of in the upper echelon. So many of you already know about our referred producer program, marketing reimbursement. All I wanted to make clear to you all is that when you do business with us, there's marketing co-op dollars made available to you. And also, we sure appreciate your referrals. It's how we built our business. We're going to reward you for your referrals. And the way that we're going to do that is by a simple thank you and appreciation, and also by monthly or quarterly checks paid out to you as a bonus for the business written by your referral. So a great way to add to your marketing dollars, or just to add to your own bottom line. I've got just a relatively small number of new producers, so I'm going to zip through this one again. There are 3 levels that you can claim at. At some point, we'll probably add some claiming level for Retirement Boss Radio, where we can kind of get you in that as well. And in fact, factually or practically, we can do that probably with a little bit of calculator work, find out some way to include that in our new producer bonuses. So we'll do that, but you can claim at different levels. Gives you great opportunity to build your business or reward yourself for a little hard work. You can see what's available to you. Bottom line is, if you have some questions about that, you want to talk more about it, give us here at IAMS a call. We got great back office support. As you all know, I know that the folks on here do regular business with us, generally speaking, so you know about the back office support. We've got a very robust and experienced team that can help you at each stage, and makes it their normal practice to help you at every stage of the submission through commission process. If you haven't experienced that, you will, if you're like everyone else that I talk to, you'll say it's better than you've ever had before. We've got a great creative team, and some of that will be needed as we get, if the Retirement Boss Radio is something you have interest in, you will need to put them to work a little bit for you. But beyond that, they do some great things for our producers. And the key that I want you to think about from their standpoint is if you went out to a firm and said, hey, set me up and get me some brochures and get me some letterhead and get me a logo and get me a website, it certainly could all be done. But you've got a team here at IAMS that's experienced in our very business lines and has worked with many producers just like yourself. And so they can do it quicker, easier, and even when there's some cost things, we can take care of a lot of that with marketing reimbursement. So take advantage of our creative services team if you have not already. IAMS website, I want to point you to our support. If you can see it there in front of you, depending on the size of your screen, you may not be able to, but I want you to look sometime when you have a few minutes, go in and look at the IAMS sales resource library, which is under the support section of our website. Not enough people look at that, and everyone that does is amazed by all the resources and tools there. We pay a little monthly fee to have that available to our guys and gals, so take a peek at it and see if there's not some things in there you can use. You want to set aside maybe an hour of time when you go in there, because there's a lot of different sections and a lot of tools, a lot of ways that you can use them. And certainly what you could do is just give your sales director a call and say, hey, walk me through that. Show me what's out there. And, these are some things I'm looking for. Might they be available on that resource library? There's a lot of other good stuff on the website for sure. If you haven't looked at it lately, I would encourage you to do so. Will not be long before we have you set up with the ability to actually view your business through a portal on that website. So you'll want to get your registration, your username and password all set up. Retirement Analyzer, a great little tool that we have. If you haven't used it at all, if you haven't talked to Marcus here at the office about the Retirement Analyzer, we're making that available for free to folks that do business with us. And if you haven't looked at it and you just want to look at it for 30 or 60 days, we'll pay for that as well. We pay a monthly fee to the folks over at Retirement Analyzer just to have access to it for all of our guys, or for actually a limited number of guys and gals in our system. So if that's something that you have interest in, give Marcus a call. He'll walk you through it, see if you can use it. I know a lot of our competitors charge their producers to take advantage of that. Right now, we're doing that for our producers at no cost. So it's a great way to make a presentation to a client that's pretty comprehensive and really uncovers a lot of opportunities and a lot of shortfalls, and helps people see exactly where they're at on the retirement journey in a very graphic way. So it's something that if you need that, if you have clientele that you think would benefit from that, and you have relationships with your clients that are not just a simple transaction of, I've got a CD and I want to put that in an annuity. If you're looking for something that builds that relationship on a much more holistic way, then the Retirement Analyzer is a great tool for you, and I encourage you to have a look at it. And again, that's no cost to the folks that are in our system. I'm going to ask y'all to just quickly give me a yes or no on this poll. If you have interest in hearing more about IAMS Wealth Management, give me a call. And here's the reasons that you might. If you are considering maybe that getting a Series 65 might make sense for your business, you want to protect it against, the DOL type rulings that most likely are going to be headed our way over the next year or two, then give them a call. They can help you with the process of, hey, what do I do? What can I expect in terms of the testing? How long will it take? They can help you with that. And then getting out all the booklets and everything at our discount, they can do that for you as well. So that'd be one reason to put yes on that poll. Which I didn't launch, I'm going to do so. Another reason to put yes on that poll might be that you're maybe unhappy with your current RIA in terms of the support that you're getting on a daily basis. So we've applied the same kind of service and support level standard that you're used to on the IAMS side. And so it's a notable departure from what most guys tell us, from what they normally expect from their RIA, and a notable improvement. So if you're not happy with that part of what your RIA is doing for us, give us a call. If your fees maybe you don't think that they're a good efficient bargain for you, if your fees maybe seem too high that you're being charged on a monthly basis, we've got a lot of feedback that our fees are reasonable, and what we give for our fees in terms of technology, websites, and support are very, very, very good. So if that's something that maybe you're wondering about, then hit yes on that poll. And finally, if maybe your RIA isn't, the payouts, the payouts to you, you don't think are as good as they could be. Again, we've gotten feedback on that, and that our payouts are very strong. We're very efficient with the dollars available, and so we try and get as much back, as has been our practice always. We try and get as much back in your hands as we can. So if that's of interest to you in any way, in any of those 3 or 4 ways, certainly hit yes on that. If you haven't considered it, you're happy with your current RAA, happy with your payouts that you get, and happy with the fees that you have to pay, none of those things apply to you, hit no if you would. If you have zero interest, if this isn't something that is of interest to you at all, also hit no on that. Maybe you're happy, maybe you've never even considered and don't want to consider making that part of your business. That's fine too. Just let us know that by hitting no. Looks like you guys are all quick voters. Thank you for that, by the way. I appreciate that greatly. So we have just a couple that haven't voted. So I'm going to go ahead and close that poll. If the reason that you didn't vote is there's an issue with not being able to see the poll, or maybe you're just listening instead of actually watching it on screen, then give us a call here at the office, 800-255-5055. Ask for your annuity sales director and tell them that you want to get in touch with the folks over at IAMS Wealth, and they'll handle that for you. You can certainly just call me, just ask for Steve, and I can put you in touch with Charles, and he can walk you through that as well. So with that, I'm going to close that poll down because I want to get moving along here. Thank you all, by the way, for taking a minute and voting so quickly. Close that out, and I think we're getting close. So we've got a couple of, actually 3 trainings left this year. We just had one in Dallas. We're going to have probably one here in Omaha and a couple in various locations here in the Midwest. So if you have interest in joining us for Academy, so this last one, the one in Dallas, was the first one that we had Dave at talking about Retirement Boss Radio. And so if you have interest in coming in to one of our academies, give us a call here at the office. You can see the number there, 800-255-5055. Ask for your sales director and just tell them you'd like to see the sample agenda. They change a little bit. They don't change a ton. They change a little bit from time to time. So we give you the agenda from the last one. It'll be pretty close to what we do coming up here in May is our next one. And in a registration form. And if you look at the agenda, you want to take advantage of coming in for one of our academies, then fill out the registration form, and then one of the next 3 that we have coming up this year, we'll invite you in. If one of those 3 works, that's great. We'd love to have you come in. We do take care of expenses. We do take care of your travel expenses, your hotel expenses, and your meal expenses while you're joining us for the meeting. So don't worry about that part of it. Of course, you're going to be out of your office. The agenda basically runs from Wednesday evening through Friday afternoon. So you're going to be out of your office for 3 days. And like I said, we'll take care of the hard dollar expense that you have for joining us. So give us a call here if you have some interest there. The numbers there's 800-255-5055. By all means, ask for myself. I'm Steve Murray. Ask for any one of our sales directors. Anyone can get that information out to you in a relatively short order. Okay? We'd love to have you join us. I'm going to zoom right ahead to Dave. Are you with us?
I am.
There you are, bright and early. Thank you for joining us here, Dave. I know Fridays can be a little hectic for you, just as they are for us around here a little bit, and I'm sure a lot of producers that are on here with us today. I appreciate you taking some time out to talk about the radio, Retirement Boss Radio. We, as I mentioned to the group, I don't know if you were on then, but I talked about we did present it at the last Academy and have a ton of interest. So we know that the opportunity is something that interests a lot of people, and from the feedback that we've gotten, it looks like we're going to be quite a bit more efficient in terms of the producer's time and in terms of dollars. So looking forward to hearing more about it. Dave has a lot of experience in the seminar business, has a lot of experience in the radio business, has a lot of experience around marketing to grow your business. And so this is he's done a nice job of putting this together. I think you're going to be very, very interested to hear what he has to say about the Retirement Boss Radio. And I think, if, as I mentioned as we got started, if you can overlay that throughout with the fact that that's how Dave is building his business and he's doing it, eating his own cooking, as he puts it, right now today. So you're talking to somebody that's in the midst of it, doing it, working it. And so the information you're going to get is not potential or not maybe. It's, good, current, solid information that is applicable in today's marketplace. So with that, I'm going to turn over to Mr. Dave Pimper, President of Lazarus Coaching.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate it. If you haven't been on one of my webinars before, just to let you know, I'm a producer, just like you guys are and gals are. We got quite a few folks with us today that have some interest about maybe changing or putting a new alternative the way they market their business. And I will say this, whether you're strictly insurance licensed, okay, which the investment of choice or du jour, maybe the fixed indexed annuity or the fixed annuities, kind of the investment end of the insurance business, or whether you're 65 licensed from fee-based, or whether you're 6 or 7, which of course is your full securities licensed, it really doesn't make a difference. What happens is that people are, the general public, first of all, and we'll go through some slides to show you, I mean, people of our age, I'm going to be 64 next month, from 50 on up, a lot of people listen to radio, in particular talk radio, talk, news, weather, sports. That kind of format has really, for the last maybe 10, 12 years, has really been gaining steam. And what happens is if you go on your radio station and go to AM Talk, so go to the Rush Limbaugh station or the Dave Ramsey station or the Kim Commando station, or the Sean Hannity, or, Dr. Laura, those kind of stations are catering to a little older crowd. It isn't so much my son's age of 27 or my daughter's age of 29, but they're looking for normally a crowd that's 50, 55 and above that wants to be informed mainly about politics. They want to be informed about current up-to-date things, and there's a lot of listenership. So if you go to your local station on the weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, what you're going to find is there'll be a couple national financial shows that are on there, but what you're going to find 3 or 4 or 5 of local representatives, local agents, local financial personnel who have those shows. And if you know who they are, I'll tell you right now, if they're on radio, the odds of them being successful are high. Now, I'm a big seminar giver. I know radio's not for everyone. I know seminars are not for everyone. But I will tell you this, getting in front of enough qualified prospects is key. And I'm not making this up. I'm telling you the honest truth. I like being in front of a lot of people. And yesterday, Thursday, I had about as many appointments as I want in a day as 4 appointments. I actually had one coaching appointment, but not counting that. But with prospects, brand new prospects, I had 4 coaching appointments, 4 brokerage or investment financial planning appointments, and then I did a Social Security workshop last night. We got 4 more appointments last night from that workshop. But I was looking at my Monday, and I told my administrators last week. I said, how many appointments do you want to have in a day? And I'd rather not have more than 4, because that's a lot of appointments. There's a lot of people to talk to. And kind of unbeknownst to me, I looked at my Monday, and I have 5 appointments. Of those 5, I've got 3 are coming from radio, and 2 are coming from 3 are coming from radio, 3 are coming from the Social Security workshop that I just had. That's a lot for me. That's getting almost in front of too many people from the day's time. But, being in front of people is the name of the game. Radio seems to go in with a little wealthier crowd who does listen to that. Now, the Retirement Boss Radio Take Charge of Your Money, Retirement Boss Radio Take Charge of Your Money is trademarked, so no one else can use that, and we're going to brand that. We got myself now. We've got one representative that's Bruce is in Orlando, Florida, but we're going to take this in the next 18 months, 2 years. We're going to go in right now. we're looking at radio time of what the cost is and the availability of the location for the time of the show. We've got 9 people that we're looking at. Will all 9 come on board and do the show? No, most likely not. But there's certainly going to be a portion of those that will. We're really rolling this out. I had done live radio for 11 years on a small AM station. My goal wasn't really to go in and get appointments. My goal was to go in and get well known, which I certainly got business from it, but I didn't get specific appointments just from the show. This show is set up, first of all, it's pre-recorded. And when a radio show is pre-recorded, you can go in and you can record at your leisure of when the best time is. You know, right from your office or right from your house, you can do recording. We call it the studio in a box. So it's about $150, $60 worth, but it comes with a mic and a mic screen. It comes with the software. It comes with a timer. And what we do to save on production cost, which is pretty darn smart. I wish I can say that it was my idea, but it was not. It was our media buyer who really helps from the production side also. And then we have a separate production company. What a production company does is it takes it's recorded. They take your recording and then they put in the ads, your ads with your name. They go in with all of the music, all the soundtrack. They make sure that it's exactly, 59 minutes and 55 seconds long. So it fits in perfectly. And they're extremely good at what they do. I mean, they are pros at what they do. How we save half of our production costs. So instead of $2,000 a month, it's $1,000 a month. And then they get all those shows to the radio station. How we do it? We record a 30-minute show. There's 2 segments, 2 50-minute segments on a 30-minute show, and then we repeat the second show. I repeat it from 4 shows behind. So, like right now, if I'm doing show 100, I'd be by repeat would be show 96. If I'm doing show 620, my show is going to be second show. The repeat is going to be 616. What that does is it takes our production cost from $2,000 down to $1,000, which is very reasonable. And so what happens is that radio, the medium of radio, it's talk radio in particular, people listen and they if it's a well-known station, well-known AM station, what happens is you almost get the credibility that you're on that station. And there's so am I going in and saying that I don't like seminars as much as radio? No, I'm not going to say that. Do I like radio more than seminars? No, but I will say this. The average dollars coming in from the appointment with radio has been a little more than what my seminars are. I also like the idea, like last night when you have to seminar, you got to have so much preparation ahead of time. You've got to be, even when we're helping you through with it, but you got to get with your, with your mail order house. You've got to get your library or your restaurant booked. It takes that night out of your calendar. I didn't get home last night from Omaha until a little before 9 o'clock. And so what happens with radio, I go in and I do my broadcasting right from the comfort of my own office, and I do it at 8:30 in the morning. And it takes me about 40 minutes to do that 30-minute show. And Monday is when I always do it, but we can do it Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. It doesn't air that next weekend, but the weekend after that. And we've got it down to a science. I tested this for 6 months, and I'll tell you, there were some tweaks and some things and some hurdles I had to get over in the very beginning, but it keeps on building. I just got a call, an appointment. We're actually meeting. I'm meeting with her on Monday, but she said, "Hey, I've been listening to you for a few weeks now, and I finally felt comfortable to give you a call." So all of a sudden, you start becoming this radio personality, this kind of this radio celebrity, and you don't have that, of course, when you're going in and marketing seminars. So again, am I down on seminars? Ditch the seminars? Absolutely not. But seminars are not for everybody. Radio comes in and really gives you a whole nother kind of a persona about that celebrity's persona of if he's on this AM's radio, it's almost like you're endorsed, though of course that you're not, but that's almost the way that it feels. If you have any questions, type them on in, and I'm going to go through some information here just so you understand. But why radio? Unbelievably, but radio reaches more Americans each week than any other platform, including TV, smartphone, personal computer, TV connected devices. Believe it or not, it's a fact. The median age of the person listening is 61, about 56% male, about 44% female. And this is a higher demographics of the 93% of adults that have $75,000 and over of income. Households listen to radio an average of 12 hours a week. Isn't that something? They're getting educated by radio. And I talked about this. The radio solidifies you as being the expert. Okay? So what happens is that the trust that you build being on that station, the engagement of the person is high. And you know, I put news radio, talk radio is hot. There's no doubt. Over 12% of all the radio listeners choose talk radio as the median. Now, one of the things that we've done that's different, I mean, we've got a track record. And then we have a track and a process that we follow. It's very, very important to follow that track, because what happens is if you don't follow it, you kind of get out of no man's land. If you follow the track, it has been proven and it has been successful. This just kind of backs up from a Nielsen report, which is big into radio on statistics, but it says radio reaches more Americans each week than any other platform. And you can look at radio, TV, smartphone, PC, TV connected devices, and the tablet. Yeah, radio. Americans listen to a lot of radio. And the type of person we're looking for, that pre-retired and retired, just retired, in that transitional state for retirement planning, income planning, so forth. Yeah, just a very, very directed demographics. So who's on AM radio? Well, yeah, the ones I talked about: Rush Limbaugh, Glenn Beck, Dave Ramsey. But they're normally on during the week on national syndicated shows. Now, why are they on? Why are they on AM radio? Well, you know what? They get exposure. You bet they do. They get celebrity status. You bet. But lead generation, and so what happens is they're looking at the bottom line profits. The big difference in my radio show now than what it was before is that I was kind of trying to get known, but I'm doing that now. But what also happens is I'm getting appointments. And that is very, very important about getting appointments. Not just leads or not just a prospect to call, but they're setting up an appointment. We have an inbound appointment setting call center. When I started this 7, 8 months ago, I guess it was July or August I started. But you know what happens is that when I was testing it, I took all of my calls after the show and called everybody back, and I wanted to hear what they had to say. Then I had one of my administrators. For 2 weeks they took all the calls right when the calls came in from the show, and then I wanted to know what the script should be, what we need to ask. But basically, I had to go through one call center. It just wasn't professional enough, and then I went out and found another inbound call center that does a lot of inbound radio appointment setting. And do they cost a little bit more than the average inbound? Yeah, I mean, it's going to cost you between $200 and $250 per month to have this service answer your calls. And it isn't just answering the calls; it's setting the appointment. And they go from a script that was specifically crafted by us. So when a person calls on in, they'll say, "Thank you very much for calling Retirement Boss Radio." And they'll say something. They'll say, "I know that you've enjoyed listening to Dave. Let's set up a good time for you to get together for an appointment." It goes right in. They go right for the appointment. This is not just a lead generation system, it's an appointment setting generation system. Okay? And if there's any questions at all, certainly bring them on up, and I'll be more than happy to go in and answer those for you. We get show content from our production company, and then I change that show content. I kind of put bullet points in it. I might add or subtract from it because I'm in the field every single day. Right now, the person who is doing it besides me, we're both securities licensed, but I know there's going to be some strictly insurance licensed agents. So there's no doubt I'm going to use the majority of that same script, but then we will go in and add bullet points around guarantees, i.e. fixed indexed, or around insurance in general, life insurance. We don't do, even though I do my share of fixed indexed business, this is really more of a financial planning, the retirement planning, but the content is very, very good. Very good. It's timely, it's educational, and shows like this need to be entertaining. So myself, I did radio live for 11 years, and then for 14 years, or 13 to 14 years, I did a kind of a Paul Harvey in the news on a market report, a day-end market report. I did that 5 days a week. I did that for 13 or 14 years. And so I really understand radio. I really, really understand it. But what I want to do is when I'm coaching you, and we've got 4 coaching sessions to walk through all the ins and outs. It's all covered. There's no charge for the coaching. All of my insight in my help is at no charge to yourself, which is very, very nice. Your charge, of course, the big charge is the radio time and the production, and of course the call center, the inbound call center. So that is where your cost comes into play, which we'll talk a little bit more about that kind of on what the costs are. Okay. Now, what happens is that the turnkey part of this system, I think, is extremely important. You can record right. You don't have to go into the, 5 years ago, you almost had to go into the radio show, or you had to have very expensive equipment in your office. Well, now it's not the case. I mean, for $150, $60, you in the correct software, which we give to you, and it sounds great. It sounds almost as good as if you're in the office itself. We have a co-host. It really keeps he keeps the whole show going. So really, you're the point guy, and he is kind of the color guy. And so we have the same co-host. As of now, we have the same co-host with all of our folks are on Retirement Boss Radio. Know that when you do the raw show, it sounds much, much better once you have all of the advertisements in there. You got the music in there, but you are going in and you're doing the show yourself. Now, I've got 2 people right now, and we offer this, is that I will actually do the show for them, and then we put in the clips that their ads are for them. We use their phone number. Basically, they're either not good enough to be on radio, they just don't want to do that, that isn't their personality, or they don't have the time. There's no difference in cost. And I'm actually, as of now, I'm actually doing the show. When I record it, it's specifically for you if you want me to do it. So it's another option that you have. I had calls all the time to go do seminars, and they would pay me pretty good money to come on out and do seminars for them. I had just no interest of taking myself out of the field for 1 or 2 or 3 days. Here, I'm not taking myself out of the field. I'm taking myself out for an hour. I mean, there's a little more than that, but an hour's time to go in and record. But I don't have to get on a flight, or I don't have to drive 500 miles. I can do it right from my own office. So that's why we're offering that, and we have quite a few people that are going to entertain that and have interest in having me do it for them. So full service production company, and when it talks about, they offer show notes, the co-hosts, they edit it, they mix it, they add the music to it, commercials, promos. Our media buyer has been in the business. His family's been in the business for over 70 years. Grandpa, Dad, himself. He's been buying media for over 20 years. He currently has over 400 weekly shows that he's negotiated and purchased airtime for. That's both radio and television. Just an incredible. He knows almost every single market that there is. And I have you can record your own show, which I would say is preferable. But if you don't have that personality, you don't have that time, you don't want to have that learning curve, yeah, you can certainly have myself go in and record that show to you. I can't say enough about the call center we have. They've done very, very good. So to give you an idea, I average right now 3 leads per, not leads, 3 appointments, set appointments. We have a calendar, an online calendar that you use and our appointment setters use. So that's why they're not doubling up on time. So every Friday, it takes my administrator about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. She just goes out for 6 weeks and she looks at every day and she just blocks out time. So I can't say there's never a mistake, but it's human error. It's not the electronic calendar's fault, but it's pretty sophisticated. And we got that idea, from our call center, so they wouldn't be booking times upon times. Okay, it's a pretty slick system, gets you well known, kind of celebrity status, and that syncing of the calendars is kind of key. It keeps everybody on the same page. Now, there's a difference when you're in a seminar setting. You're kind of viewed a little bit. You're viewed as a salesperson, and that's probably not a good kind of a viewing of yourself. But you're there. You're giving seminars or dinner seminars, etc. When you're on radio, I mean, I answer the phone when I call those folks, or I introduce. I say, I'm Dave Pimper with Retirement Boss. I'm the host of Retirement Boss Radio, and then I use my broker name, Calton, because we need to say Calton in the team, but I'm the host. Hi, I'm the host. So they feel less pressure. They feel like you're a host and you're not an advisor, which of course we are. I make that perfectly clear. But to those people, you've got celebrity status because they heard you on this big AM station, the same one Rush Limbaugh, Kim Commando, Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham. It could be, I mean, it just goes on and on and on. Yeah. Now I think there's going to be about a $50 charge, because there is charge of putting it up. But I do some podcasts that I'm showing up. I go on iTunes, and I'm kind of amazed. I mean, I haven't gotten business from it yet, but I certainly have got a share of people that have listened to at least portions of my show through iTunes. This is exactly what the radio show appointment setting call center, their sheet. When the calls come in, and I do a call to action, there's actually a call to action in an hour. We're calling to action 4 times, calling for an appointment. If you heard something today, this, please call. And our number is 888-975-BOSS, 888-975-2677. All of our radio numbers, our one down in Orlando, his name ends in BOSS. We got lots of numbers saved that end in BOSS or 2677. It's just very easy to remember. But here's what you get. They take down information as much as they can to help us, and then it gets sent to us by email. And it's done instantly. I mean, it's like Christmas. My program has to be on Sunday from 12 to 1. And so between 12 to 1, I know that there's a call to action at about 12:15, 12:30, quarter to 1, into 1. That call to action is for the appointment. But kind of cool. See here, and I blew up the box. It's pretty impressive. This is from 3 weeks ago. Well, it was on, the appointment day was for 3/5. I met him, and it came in on 3/3. Scheduled appointment from radio, 8:30 a.m. The comments are turning 59 soon, hasn't settled into someone yet, which is great news. He doesn't have an advisor. and then he has a 401k that's 7 figures. He actually lied. It was 920 some thousand. It had been over a million before the fall down in October, November, December. Also had questions about Social Security. Real nice guy. He's a single fella. He'll be 59 and a half on October the 12th of this year. So that's about 6 months away. Why is that important? He's still working for the firm. He worked there for 36 and a half years. Why? Because we can do an in-service non-hardship withdrawal plan on all or a portion of his money, which he wants to get it out of there. So we'll certainly take the majority, I'm sure, but it's when he turns 59 and a half. So is this something that I'm going to do business with today or tomorrow? No, but within the next 5-6 months, you darn right. And so I've got him on a drip through my CRM that I'm going to call him, mail him out things. But every single appointment or every single call in, every single missed call, what happens is that we go in and we get this on our email, which of course I have right on my phone also. So no matter where I'm at, I can go in and see exactly how many appointments. In the last 6 or 7 weeks, the least number of appointments in a week has been 2, and the most has been 4. And what we do is that on Monday, in our appointment call center, lets them know. We always say that our office will verify the appointment time, and we tell them that they need to be available by phone or by email. There needs to be a response back to them, or we're not going to set the appointment. So we've got that all laid out. It's all on script that we give to you. And I don't mind if people vary from the script once they're successful and done it, but I don't want you really varying from it in the very beginning, because what happens is we know this works. It's worked for me. It's going to work for you hopefully as long as you follow the script itself. Okay, so if there's any, as we're kind of finishing up here, if there's any questions at all, certainly go in, make sure that you answer those, and then we will go in and ask those, and we certainly will answer them. So it says, hosting your radio show as star quality. Yeah, that's something, that seminar, it's hard to have star quality being a seminar presenter. They might think you know a lot, but you don't have star quality. Retirement Boss Radio is trademarked. If you go to www.retirementbossradio.com, that's, of course, our website. And that website has really kind of the ins and outs of the radio program, okay? Now, one of the things that you're probably asking yourself, what's it cost? What's this cost to market? And I always thought that radio, I mean, even when I was doing my live show from 7:45 to 8 o'clock, I did that for actually 2 different radio stations, because one, I left and went with another one. They're both AM stations in the small town of 50,000. Here's what happens is that you have to have enough people listening to the radio station. We like to be the top AM talk radio or the second AM talk radio. When you get lower than that, unless it's a huge city like LA, Chicago, New York, but if you're in a normal town, you need a population of somewhere between 100 and 200,000 that enough people are listening to you to call in for that appointment, because it is a numbers game. And last week I gave out kind of proposals, but they do it per week. So if you're going in with the radio for an hour, let's say the low end, give or take, but it might be around $300 a week to have an hour show on the top AM station. And that's kind of the low end. So what you take it as 4 weeks, that's $1,200. You got $1,000 for production, that's $2,200. Another couple hundred. So the low end is about $2,500 a month to do radio. I would say the mid-range is around $4,000 to $4,500, and the high would be $5,500, $6,000 or above. That's normally in the much bigger cities or in a pretty good-sized city where there's one big dominant AM station. In Omaha, Nebraska, it happens to be KFAB. They're the 50,000-watt powerhouse. They're huge, and there's no station that even competes with them. Well, if there was another one, then I'd be paying a little bit less, but I'm paying more. So my cost is probably around $5,500 a month. That's kind of the high end of what it's going to cost. So radio, it depends on your area, but I will say this, it makes you stand out. It puts you a notch ahead. You can go in and you have control of when you record. People are calling you, calling the call center. They're setting the appointment, not you. It's a big, big time saver. So as Steve gets back on the line here, I just wanted to bring this on up. It says, procrastination is my sin. It brings me constant sorrow. I really shouldn't practice it. Perhaps I'll stop. Well, my friends, tomorrow never comes for a lot of people. If you heard something today, or you could imagine yourself behind that mic on this turnkey radio show, Retirement Boss Radio, Take Charge of Your Money system, or if you're in an area you say, I think you could really work here, I've got the marketing dollars, hey, I'll call Dave Temper and let him do that for me. Here's what's so important. The two things that's extremely important is, one, we have to find the right radio station, and secondly, what we have to do is we got to find the right time. When we do those two things, then it really is it's like what's the best kind of real estate? It's location, location, location. If we can do that, I'm telling you what, you can have an appointment setting marketing machine on an ongoing basis. Al Jolson, which was an actor, he says, I'd like to do radio just like pictures, leave the imperfect stuff on the cutting room floor. Interesting thing is, we record this. I say, let's do that over again. I do it quite often. Hey, let's don't use that. Let's do this over again. I might make a mistake. Let's do this over again. That's the beauty of not doing live. It sounds absolutely live. When my co-host Steve says, Dave, let's open up the phone lines. If you're one of the next 5 callers, or if you call in the next 15 minutes, or if you call during the show, Dave will, and then it goes about setting the appointment and what they're going to get, the income plan, a forensic fee analysis, the second opinion package. It's all, we have it all. We have 3 or 4 different offers for you. We can go in and refinagle for your specific offer of what you're comfortable with. Yeah, we're here to really grow the brand. IAMS is the FMO who's backing this. The Retirement Boss Radio, Take Charge of Your Money. We hope that it's nationwide before it's all said and done, with hundreds and hundreds of programs being aired each and every weekend. So I'm going to turn this over to Steve. But Steve, you're going to put up a poll, aren't you, to see if people have an interest that they can mark yes, and then one of our administrators will call on Monday and we'll set the appointment that was good for you, and we can talk more in depth. So, Steve, I'll shoot this back to you.
Great. Thank you, Dave. Great job as always. As Dave mentioned, we have high hopes, and some of those hopes are already being played out. There are also a number of you that have a few questions here. Dave, do you have a few minutes? I know you've got some appointments yet today. Do you have a few minutes for us?
I have an appointment at high noon, which is 12 Central Time, so I got 10 minutes here that I can certainly answer questions.
Okay, so question number 1, I think you already answered that, how many appointments you get from your radio show. So you said there right now it's running between 2 and 4. You've been doing it for, what, 6 months here on KFAB?
Yep.
6 months.
Yep. And I will say this, Steve, this is a little different than a seminar, and you know this, but to really be successful in marketing, in a radio is much more important. If you do one seminar and then you take a break for a couple, 2-3 months, or even 6 months or a year and do another one, that second one is really a standalone. It's a standalone. Radio, they keep building and building and building. They get to know you. I just had a call, Steve, they were from Milford, which is on the west side of Lincoln. They drove an hour and 15 minutes to come to the office, okay? Mm-hmm. And what happened was they said, the reason we called this, they said, we listen to you every week. And they finally called. Yeah. And so what happens is, you've got to make a commitment, and the commitment should be made out for 6 months. So if you can only do it for 1 month, no, you really, I'll tell you right now, it's hard to do that. But if you can commit to 5 or 6 months, and we always have a 1 month out clause on that's how our media buyer Jared always does it. He can get the best pricing to go out for a year, but at any time you say, I want to quit this, you have 1 month, and then you're out, okay? But what happens is it keeps building and snowballing. No difference on your favorite television station. You start understanding who the characters are, what the plots are, and you really kind of get into the show. The people really start getting into to your Retirement Boss radio show.
Sure. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all. So next question, when you do the radio show, are you going to charge for that? Or you charge a small fee for that?
Yeah, so here's what happens is that, and IAMS has been nice enough, I'm not charging for the coaching. The radio time is net, so Jared goes in and negotiates the best radio time. The production, that we don't, there's no markup on that. It's $1,000. Mm-hmm. So what happens is that IAMS is going in and they're helping me, compensating me to go in and to get this off the ground. I'm not part of your hierarchy system. I'm not part of your override system. You're going to get the full commission payout. But Steve, the way, and of course you've been in this business for most of your life, actually. I mean, yep. You make money by producers being successful and writing business through you. That's how you make your money. Yep. And so we think that this can be a huge multi-million-dollar concern. And of course, if the producer's successful, then you're successful. If you're successful, then that certainly helps me too. But is there any upfront cost of myself supplying this with you? No, that has been absorbed, fortunate enough, by IAMS, the FMO.
And if you actually do the recording of the radio show for them, we'll take care of that cost as well.
Right. And there is, what happens is, and again, if there's something else that's a little bit different than the norm or something that you want to do, yeah, we're certainly open. I just know if you get too far off of a track, though, that's where problems happen.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'd like to stay as close to the track as we can, at least in the beginning.
You betcha. So, question, how do they go about finding out if a radio station time is available in their area? If they have a specific radio station in mind that they think would be good, how do they go about finding out?
You bet. Well, I had a guy down in Tampa, and you know him. It's Bill. He came to the Annuity Academy, mm-hmm. and really sharp guy, very successful in the financial business. But he's real good friends with a fellow with the Christian radio station, and that's where he thought he might do this show. So he's going to give him a call. What's interesting, Jared actually built his grandpa and dad. The majority of the stations they had were Christian stations, religious stations, and Jared said, "Boy, little does he know." No one's successful. I mean, for financials. Now, if you're a preacher, an evangelist, that's a different matter. He has a lot of those shows. But as far as a financial show on Christian radio, it just doesn't work. Now, I wouldn't have known that, but Jared does. He has 22 years, and you know him. I mean, he's a pretty sharp cookie, isn't he?
Yep. Yeah, he really is. Yep. He really is. A lot of experience and a lot of family experience in that business. He's a great resource for us. And
just a nice guy. He's just a nice fella. So what happens is when you have 400 live shows every week, and if you go and if that's turned over 2 or 3 times in the last 5 years, I mean, that's thousands and thousands of cities that he's been in. I haven't seen a city yet they didn't know didn't know the radio station, and he knows all the call letters off the top of his head. So going back to that, what happens is that if you have an interest, you can certainly give us a call here, 402-721-0809. That's Lazarus Coaching, and then my broker-dealer I work for is Calton and Associates. That's I'm a rep for. But if you call, but we'll call you on Monday also to get a good time to get together if you want to, and then we can go on out and we can look at your area. But remember, we have to find the right station, and we have to find the right time. If you put those two things together, we're cooking. I mean, then all of a sudden, now we coach you up, we learn you up, as they'd say in the backwoods of Nebraska. We learn you up on radio and how to become the best host you possibly can.
Good. Can they hear a radio show?
Absolutely. www.retirementbossradio.com. Retirementbossradio.com. That's our website. It's newly launched just within the last couple 2 or 3 weeks. It actually was just before the Academy, Steve. And I have a ton of podcasts on there on my show. They're all 30-minute segments, so they'll show 26 to 27 minutes. That's just one of the segments. Remember, we repeat the second one always from a previous show, saving us on production costs. But you can hear myself going in, and and the more we do, and the more people that we have out there, we'll start having other podcasts of our Retirement Boss Radio family also. So we got big plans, and I tell you, there's just no reason. This is like a McDonald's franchise. There's no reason, if it worked in the little town of Des Plaines, Illinois, and that's where McDonald's started, there's no reason it wouldn't work in Fremont. It did. It worked in Fremont. McDonald's works in Omaha. Same here. As long as you've got enough population and a good talk radio that the big wigs are on, there's no reason that it can't work for you. Either you doing it, which is preferred, but if you want me to do it, then we can also talk about that for those appointment setting, for the appointments. That's so important.
Yep. Got a couple questions here stacking up. So do you have to be securities licensed? And if you do, is your radio show FINRA reviewed?
Yeah. What happens is that's always done individually. So the reason I go through the show notes, FINRA wants to see those show notes when they come in. Now, do we read off those show notes? No. They're just bullet points. There's certainly copy there, but I go through everything. It goes through Calton. It goes through my compliance department. They've made suggestions, things we can say, can't say. I'll give all those to you. But your compliance department will need to go in. They don't need to be FINRA reviewed per se, but they need to be reviewed by your compliance department. It can't be FINRA reviewed because FINRA, the last time, Steve, that I went in, and you'll love this, you're lucky you don't have a broker-dealer. You have an RIA. That is a much better route to go with a lot of people from compliance. What happened was, all I want to do, I use a tagline. I've used it for years and years and years on my card, sensible investment advice. I went in to get a FINRA review. Took me 6 weeks to get it back for them to say, yes, it's okay.
They must know you.
It cost me $125. Here, no. So your broker-dealer will go in, and they're the ones that are going to okay that copy.
Yep. Dave, I've had a couple people ask me about the website. It's retirementbossradio.com.
Yep. www.retirementbossradio.com.
I'm going to send that to everybody here real quick. I'm kind of lost in all of this. Is that there's a poll up right now, and it looks like all of you have pretty well caught on to that because most of you have voted. There's still a couple of you that have not. By all means, if you have interest in chatting with Dave, that's great. Put a yes. If you don't want to chat with Dave or his crew, I'll put no. So the question of support around Retirement Boss Radio, is that going to be day-to-day questions? Who's going to get those taken care of for everybody?
I do. And you know what? If it needs to go with Jared will. So, because Jared really has he is really the expert on the radio airtime, on the production. I'm really on the front end of putting all the show notes. I mean, I get the show notes from our production company, but then I redo those show notes. If you're just strictly insurance, we're going to go in, and there's going to be a second set of show notes that'll be ebbed a little bit more from the fixed indexed or fixed or life insurance. So, but I'm really the front man on this. And what happens is that I'm trying to do everything I possibly can with all the background, the knowledge that I have to make every single person as successful. I will say this is something that's new to most people. So even though I had done a lot of radio, Steve, I was just talking about the Annuity Academy. My first week, I had no calls. My second week, I had 2 calls, no appointments. My third week, I got 2 appointments. My fourth week, I got 3 appointments. And then after about a month, I really kind of figured out what to do and what not to do. Mm-hmm. Now, here's what I'm going to do. I am going to have to scoot because my appointment is here. But this is interesting, and I can tell everyone on the line, this is the truth. This lady came from a seminar about 8 or 9 months ago, and we didn't do business, but we came close, but we didn't. And it's interesting because her husband said, hey, I'm listening to a guy that really makes sense talking about retirement planning. She listens. It was in his car. He was in his driveway. She said, hey, I know that guy. I went to a seminar with that guy. She's here right now in my office because she wanted to revisit what we talked about last time. I had already, it wasn't dripping on her. I had already given up. Now, whether I do business with her or not, I don't know. But I will tell you this. If it wasn't for radio, I would never have that chance to talk to her again.
Yep, wouldn't be even swinging. Well, I know you got to go. It's right at 12 high noon here right now. So thank you, Dave. And I do believe we're finished up. Dave, say goodbye to everybody.
Thank you very much for attending today. Have a great weekend. Hope I can talk to a lot of you, give you some insights and outs. And if there's a fit, I always say it's like Cinderella's slipper. It doesn't fit everyone, but if it fits, I hopefully fits really, really good, and we can truly bring your production up another notch.
Good luck on your appointment, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So just in finishing up today, I'm going to go ahead and close that poll down. If you have any questions, if you need something, give us a call here at the office, 800-255-5055. I know from my conversations with Dave over the past 4 or 5 months that when he looks at his appointments from his Social Security seminar and his retirement mistake seminar and his 401k non-hardship withdrawal seminars that he does, they're various in terms of quality, but he really likes the quality of his radio appointments. He's been really happy with not only the case sizes that he's been working on. He went through about 5 or 6 of them that he's got in the last I think probably all of them in the last month, and they were, 1 million, 700,000, 1.3 million. I mean, they were relatively high assets that he was working with. And you and I, we all know that you're not going to get every one of those. You might not even get half of them, but you're going to get enough of a share that it makes it work for you. And so that's why we're excited about Radio Boss, Retirement Boss Radio. I know that the biggest part of the issue for most people is, all the details. How do I, what do I say when I'm on the radio? How do I get on the radio? How do I do the production of it? Do I have to go to the studio? All of that is done. So we can get you set up in some of the radio times, are as little as $300-400 a week, $1,600 a month, and some of them are more expensive than that. Depends on the wattage more than anything else. So we can get you in and out of this thing for relatively inexpensive and get people knowing you. If you do things like seminars or you do some Social Security planning or any particular niche that you have for your business that you can then promote while you're on the radio, it just adds to that, adds to your attendees and adds to your celebrity and adds to your credibility. So it's a great way if you do some other things to further build your reputation in the area, and the better your advice and the better you do for your clients, just the quicker that grows. So appreciate y'all joining us here today. Many of you have taken the time to vote, and we appreciate that. If, like I said before, if you were unable to vote and you have some interest, just give us a call here at the office, 800-255-5055. We'll put you in touch with Dave and his team. Spend that 20 minutes or half hour on the phone with them, see if something makes sense for you there. If it doesn't, this is this is your business. This is your livelihood. If it doesn't make sense, that's entirely up to you. If it's something that could make sense, that could help you grow your business, then we're going to help you with that process along the way as well. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. Have a great weekend. Appreciate you taking some time out on Friday afternoon, and we look forward to talking with you here over the coming days. And as always, our goal here at IAMS is to help you find ways to be more successful and more productive and more efficient in your business. When you're successful, we're successful, and when you're not, we're not. And so our goal is to help you get where you want to be, and we know that will put us where we want to be. So thank you for tuning in to IAMS here today, and appreciate your time. Anything comes up we can help you with, give us a call, 800-255-5055. Thank you, everybody.